Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Ash, and today I'm here with another tier list. This time it is Game Reboots, so I'm going to be ranking them from S, as in like the best of the best, to D, which are turd, in terms of reboot, sort of from like bringing games back, starting afresh. Some may be classed as sequels, but they also sort of reboot the franchise by changing the direction and stuff like that. I didn't create this list. It is from Tier Maker. So if you don't like the games that are listed here, I apologize. I didn't choose them. I'm just here to make this list for you guys. If you are watching this, this video is a members first. So members of the channel will get this for 3 months before it'll go live on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this publicly, you could have seen this 3 months earlier. If you had become a member, it's 99p, and you get access to a whole host of benefits, including early videos, emotes, and more. But let's jump into the tier list, shall we, guys? So I'm going to get some of out the way. Sonic the Hedgehog reboot is going in D. It was one of the worst games I have ever played. I'm not going to lie. That reboot on the 360 nearly killed off Sonic. I'm not the biggest fan of 3D Sonic games. I quite enjoy playing the jankiness of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, but rarely have I found an enjoyable 3D Sonic game, especially not Sonic the Hedgehog, which was 2000, was it? So we'll keep that out of the way. Now, I'm also going to say this is my personal preference and based on my enjoyment of the game. And you will probably really not agree with a lot of them, but that's just life. Let me know in the comments down below which you think I'm wrong at, basically. Right, I'm going to put Tomb Raider Legend. It is a fantastic sort of Tomb Raider game, one of the better ones. I actually really liked what they were doing with it. It sort of brought a fresh breath of air at the time when it was on like 360 and stuff like that. I also really enjoyed Anniversary as well, and it still felt like old Lara, whereas new Tomb Raider reboot, while amazing, isn't it isn't the same Lara Croft, is it? Whereas at least this Lara was still the same sort of Lara. It was like a follow-on as such and stuff like that, and it felt like a well-known T-shirt or something like that, but with all the mod cons you'd expect from sort of modern gaming. Tomb Raider reboot, I'm putting that in S tier. I really like them. They did an amazing job, Crystal Dynamics, with the Tomb Raider reboot. That trilogy, 1 to 3, are all fantastic games. You can see they were going after the Uncharted pie, even though Uncharted was going after the Lara Croft pie originally. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. It's a really good game. But so is Tomb Raider Legends, so definitely check that out. Saints Row. I'm sorry, Saints Row, you're a D. I'm a big Saints Row fan. I loved 3. Saints Row 3 is like the pinnacle of gaming for Saints Row. Saints Row 4 is okay and isn't that bad, but Saints Row 3 is just a million times better. So that reboot, it just took out the crudeness and the fun that made Saints Row great, and it basically made it a bit hipsterish, which it just didn't work. It didn't land. Right, what else have we got? Thief. Thief's going in B. I didn't mind Thief. It was okay. It wasn't as good as the originals, but it was a solid enough release. Has been a while since I played it, but that's where it's going right now. What have we got? I'm going to upset some people with some of these these reboots. Doom, S tier. It brings Doom into like the modern day in the best way possible. It's loud, it's proud, it's full of gore, explosions, action, loud music. It's perfect. It's such a good game. Yeah, I bought the Doom collection recently. I haven't played the Eternal properly, so I'm going to go back and play through all of them at some point. But it still feels like classic Doom, but it just looks absolutely amazing. So it's S tier. Right, Modern Warfare, Call of Duty. It's going in C because Call of Duty 4 was Modern Warfare for me, and it was probably, I say, one of my best, like my favorite Call of Duty games. 2 is the best. 2 is the pinnacle of Call of Duty. I may do a Call of Duty tier video at some point soon as well, but Modern Warfare, it's forgettable. I couldn't tell you anything that happens in it. Some people will probably be like, "Oh, it was so great," and stuff like that. I bought it on launch. I own it. I bought it day one, but it's nowhere near COD 4's level of greatness, so it's going in C. Mirror's Edge, B. Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Wasn't so much a reboot as such, more like a sequel with a different sort of style, and it was okay. It's worth playing if you're a Mirror's Edge fan, but it's nowhere near as good as the original Mirror's Edge. Ratchet and Clank, the reboot. Now, this is the PS4 reboot, not the Ratchet and Clank on PS5 or anything like that. Kind of ties in with there was a movie of it, and it looks similar to the movie, but it's a really good game. If you're a modern game and you haven't played Ratchet, it's a very good place to start playing. It's not perfect, Worlds Apart or whatever it is, or Rifts Apart or whatever the new one is on PS5 is so much better. But that one is a solid action platformer style game, so definitely check it out. Yakuza Like a Dragon is going in A. I've not played a lot of it, because I'm still trying to get through all the Yakuza games. I own them all now. But Like a Dragon has that sort of like turn-based approach to it, and honestly, I highly recommend it. It's a weird take on a franchise you wouldn't think would work, and it works absolutely amazing. Oh, here's where some of the spicy takes are coming. Wolfenstein: New World Order. B. It's okay. It's not the best. I've never been the biggest Wolfenstein fan. It's not a bad game. This one isn't a bad game. It's just not my cup of tea as such. So I do apologize if I offend you. Prey. This is just personal preference. Is C. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad game before you all come at me, Braz, but I am such a huge fan of the original Prey game. Like, I've owned it digitally now. I've got it physically on 360. I've bought it digitally on my Series X because I loved it. It was one of the first games I got on my 360. I have fond memories of it. I love the style of gameplay, and the reboot has nothing in common with it. It's not a bad game at all, but in terms of reboots, it underperformed. It's not going to get a sequel, I doubt. And it has none of the uniqueness that the original had, in my opinion. So it gets stuck in the bowels of C. To be fair, to me, C is an okay game, but not a good reboot as such. Whereas D is just terrible all in. Hitman, A, solid game. I like the old Hitmans. I don't mind the new Hitmans. They're okay. It's the same sort of formula. I do like the current one where it's like all in like one launcher. I think they've done a great job with that, and I hope they continue to build and expand on it. God of War. This is going to annoy people. God of War is A tier, and I'm not saying it's a bad game. I prefer old God of War. I prefer that like arcadey combat and stuff like that. Now, I think the new one is fantastic. I own this, and I own the sequel on PS5. Great games, like they look amazing, they play amazing, but I prefer the old God of War setting and the way Kratos was and stuff like that, and the enemies and how it played and stuff. I'd love to see a remastered collection on modern consoles. That would be fantastic with all of them in. But it's still a great game. Now, on one of my other videos, someone said that I'd put them in order here and I'd rank one higher than the other. When I put them in a line like this, it doesn't mean like Tomb Raider is better than Ratchet and Clank, although I would say it is, but that's just my opinion. I just rank them in ranks. Tomb Raider isn't better than Doom. It's like they're S, they're A, they're B, they're C. Do you know what I mean? So I don't do the ranking in a ranking. I ain't got time for that shit. So sorry, guys. Devil May Cry B. It was okay. I didn't like it that much, like compared to the old stuff, but it was a very good attempt at sort of a reboot. I liked the style and everything. It clearly didn't click with fans though, because we've since got Devil May Cry 5 as such. But it's worth playing. I highly recommend playing it. But it didn't like the reboot World on Fire, which is why it's in with like Wolfenstein, Mirror's Edge, and Thief. Now, Deus Ex, that one is going in B for the exact same reason. I'd love to see a new one where they're not chained by Square Enix, making them pump out multiplayer, terrible multiplayer tacked on the side and stuff like that, or anything to do with it. I'd love to see what they could do, but that one for me is a solid B. And this is going to make people annoyed. Resident Evil 7 to me is a B. Now, yes, it's not a full reboot. It is part of the series. It is a numbered release, but they've deemed this a reboot, and it technically rebooted the franchise in a brand new viewpoint. Since then, they've all been in first person, which I hate. I waited to play Resident Evil 8. I tried Resident Evil 7. It's not my cup of tea. It's scary as hell. Like, the scare factors are up there, but it doesn't feel like Resident Evil. It doesn't play like classic Resident Evil. They're not really zombies anymore like Resident Evil. I want bioweapons. I want desolate cities. I want to, like, we're at the point now where we could have like a semi-open world Raccoon City where you can run around it freely. Do you know what I mean? And go in the buildings and stuff. I'd rather have that than what Resident Evil 7 and 8 are. Resident Evil 8's now like werewolves and vampires, and you're like, oh. Now, I did go back and I have started playing 8 in the third person. Now they've released it as a paid DLC, unfortunately, which I do find it more enjoyable, but it's still, to me, Resident Evil's died with 4. They stopped being about the zombies. They stopped being that sort of theme, and they went a bit silly. And that's my personal opinion. Don't come at me, but I prefer tank control, third person Resident Evils over what we're currently getting, which is a shame because the technology and the engine they use looks fantastic. But anyway, guys, that is my list. What do you think to it? These are game reboots. Are there any you think should have been on here that this the creator has missed? If you're interested in doing this yourself, you can go on Tier Maker. You can see it right there at the top of the screen and do your own list. Big thank you to all our members who are watching this 3 months early for supporting the channel. You guys mean the world to us. And keep your eyes peeled on the channel. There's going to be more tier lists, reviews, and podcast content coming pretty much all the time. But other than that, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you soon for more gaming content.